For decades, the world saw Pink Floyd as a beacon of musical genius, a revolutionary force that changed rock music forever. But behind the captivating melodies and the psychedelic light shows, there was a storm brewing. Roger Waters, the enigmatic force behind much of Pink Floyd's success, had long kept the reasons for the band's internal strife under wraps. Now, at the age of 80, he breaks his silence, revealing the raw and emotional truth behind Pink Floyd's turbulent journey. Imagine the intensity of a creative powerhouse like Roger Waters clashing with equally talented minds. Picture the unrelenting pressure to outperform their last masterpiece, the grueling tours, and the relentless scrutiny from fans and critics alike. The world saw the grandeur, but few witnessed the backstage battles that often turned personal. Roger Waters describes these conflicts as a clash of titans, with each member's vision sometimes harmonizing beautifully, but often colliding catastrophically. Roger Waters' story begins in the shadow of World War II, a war that took his father from him before he could even truly know him. Born on September 6, 1943, in the quaint town of Great Bookham, Surrey, Roger Waters' early life was colored by the loss of his father, Eric Fletcher Waters, a teacher and a devout Christian who died in the chaos of combat. This loss became a recurring theme in his music, most notably in The Wall and The Final Cut. It was at Regent Street Polytechnic in London where fate brought Roger Waters together with Nick Mason, Richard Wright, and Syd Barrett. This chance meeting ignited the spark that would eventually give rise to one of the most influential rock bands the world has ever known. Syd Barrett's departure due to mental health issues marked a significant turning point. David Gilmour stepped in, and the dynamic of the band changed forever. With Waters at the helm, Pink Floyd produced legendary albums such as The Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, and The Wall, but the band's success came at a price. By the early 1980s, the cracks in Pink Floyd's foundation had widened into chasms. The recording of The Final Cut was fraught with tension, a manifestation of years of pent-up frustrations and unresolved conflicts. Creative differences, power struggles, and personal issues began to tear at the fabric of the band. Waters' vision often clashed with Gilmour's, leading to heated arguments and bitter resentment. The album, largely seen as Roger Waters' solo project with the band's name attached, was born out of the deep personal pain and political disillusionment that Waters felt. It was a raw, emotional album, but it came at a steep cost to the band's unity. During the recording sessions, the atmosphere was toxic. Waters' relentless pursuit of perfection and his controlling nature clashed violently with the more laid-back attitudes of David Gilmour and Nick Mason. Richard Wright had already been ousted from the band during the making of The Wall, a casualty of Waters' drive for dominance. The tension was palpable, and the communication between band members deteriorated to the point where they could barely stand to be in the same room. Waters' vision for the band had become so singular and consuming that it left little room for collaboration. Gilmour and Mason, frustrated and disillusioned, found it increasingly difficult to work under such oppressive conditions. The camaraderie that had once fueled their creative synergy had all but vanished, replaced by a cold, professional detachment. In 1985, Roger Waters made the fateful decision to leave Pink Floyd, convinced that the band could not survive without him. Waters was adamant that Pink Floyd was effectively finished, and he moved forward with his solo career, confident that the legacy he helped build would rest solely on his shoulders. However, Gilmour and Mason had other ideas. Determined to prove that Pink Floyd could continue without Waters, they decided to carry on. The decision set the stage for a bitter and protracted legal battle over the use of the band's name and material. Waters was incensed, feeling betrayed and undermined by his former bandmates. He initiated legal proceedings, seeking to prevent them from using the Pink Floyd name, believing it was intrinsically linked to his identity and contributions. The lawsuit was acrimonious, filled with accusations and counter-accusations. It was a fight not just for the band's name, but for their legacy and identity. Waters argued that Pink Floyd could not exist without his creative input, while Gilmour and Mason contended that the band was a collective effort and they had every right to continue. The legal battle dragged on for years, creating deep rifts and lasting animosities. During this tumultuous period, the public watched with a mixture of fascination and sadness. The news of the lawsuit and the bitter words exchanged between former friends and collaborators were splashed across headlines, turning the once united front of Pink Floyd into a fractured and contentious spectacle. Fans were heartbroken to see their musical heroes embroiled in such a messy and public dispute. Eventually, a settlement was reached. Gilmour and Mason were allowed to continue under the Pink Floyd name, while Waters retained the rights to The Wall and certain other projects. The scars from this battle, however, would take years to heal. The bitterness and resentment left an indelible mark on all involved, casting a long shadow over their subsequent careers. In the years that followed, Waters continued to pursue his solo endeavors, while Gilmour and Mason, later joined by Richard Wright, embarked on new Pink Floyd projects. Despite their separate paths, the legacy of Pink Floyd remained intact, a testament to their enduring impact on the world of music. Post-Pink Floyd, Waters embarked on a solo career, producing albums like The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking Radio KAOS and Amused to Death. His solo work, while not as commercially successful as his Pink Floyd days, showcased his unrelenting creativity and political activism. Waters became known for his outspoken views on social and political issues, often using his music as a platform to voice his opinions. But the personal cost of these battles and his relentless pursuit of artistic perfection took a toll on Waters' personal life. Multiple marriages ended in divorce, strained relationships with his children, and a reputation for being difficult to work with following him. Waters himself admitted that his drive for control and perfection often alienated those closest to him. In recent years, Waters has experienced a renaissance of sorts. His US Them tour, which ran from 2017 to 2018, was a critical and commercial success, blending Pink Floyd classics with his solo work, all presented with stunning visual effects and biting political commentary. Waters' passion for activism remained undiminished as he used his platform to speak out against war, oppression, and injustice. But perhaps the most surprising development was Waters' reconciliation with his former bandmates. In 2005, Waters, Gilmour, Mason, and Wright reunited for a one-off performance at Live 8, a benefit concert aimed at raising awareness for global poverty. The performance was electric, filled with raw emotion and a sense of closure. Waters described the experience as healing and a reminder of what they had achieved together despite their differences. As Roger Waters turned 80, he took time to reflect on his life, his career, and the legacy of Pink Floyd. In interviews, he spoke candidly about the regrets, the mistakes, and the lessons learned. He acknowledged his role in the band's conflicts and expressed a deep sense of gratitude for the music they created together. Waters also opened up about his personal life, revealing a softer, more introspective side that few had seen. Roger spoke of his enduring love for music and his commitment to using it as a force for change. Waters' latest projects continue to push boundaries, both musically and politically. He remains a controversial figure, unafraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. But beneath the defiant exterior, there is a sense of peace and acceptance, a recognition of the journey he has traveled and the impact he has made. Most recently, Waters has been working on a new album and a documentary that promises to delve even deeper into his personal and professional life. He hints at revelations that will shock and surprise even his most ardent fans. As always, Waters is pushing the boundaries, challenging himself and his audience to think, feel, and engage with the world in new ways. Through the highs and lows, the music of Roger Waters and Pink Floyd remains a timeless testament to their extraordinary talent and unyielding vision. As Waters himself said, "We were just a bunch of guys trying to make sense of the world through our music. Sometimes we got it right, sometimes we didn't. But we always tried to stay true to ourselves." Roger Waters' story is one of contrasts: the brilliance and the battles, the triumphs and the tragedies, the genius and the flaws. At 80, he stands as a testament to the power of music and the resilience of the human spirit. His journey is far from over, and as he continues to create, inspire, and provoke, the world watches, listens, and wonders what the next chapter will bring. What are your thoughts on how the brilliant minds behind Pink Floyd's masterpieces end up locked in bitter battles and lasting resentments? Tell us in the comments below.